Hey, Miner Thoughts here with the lab. It's a busy weekend, so we are going to air a classic episode this weekend. The Troj is involved with a charity event called A Stream to Remember, arranged by Richard Thornton. It's a big deal for raising money for dementia awareness. At the time of this video's release, this podcast release, his section of the stream will be over. But sit back, relax, and let's take a look back on things that in the past that inspired us. Hello and welcome to Minecraft Lab, where we explore, experiment, and theorize about all things Minecraft. Your hosts today are Miner Thoughts and
The1Troj.
And we've got another amazing episode for you today. We're going to talk about inspiration. What inspires us, who inspires us, and just take a walk through the history of our builds on Interrealms, let you know what has inspired each build or who has inspired each build.
Be a very interesting topic, that one, Miner.
We don't have any snapshots to talk about. We've got Minecraft Live coming up here on October 15th. A lot of rumors flying around for that one. I am hoping for some quality of life. If they throw a new mob in, I'll be happy. But quality of life, I think, is something everybody is begging for.
I think, given how much particular groups such as the Hermits from Hermitcraft are banging on about the inventory, and they have been for a few months, I think you can bet your bottom dollar that an inventory update will be in the cards. You know, I do think if they do stop at just the inventory, I think you're going to have a lot of people complaining that you're going to get a lot of, is that all? Is that it? So I think we'll see something more. I think the inventory thing will be, and quality of life improvements will be part of it, but I think we're going to have, some interesting updates as well.
Right, and just to mention, the reason why the rumor is flying around that there might be an inventory update is because Mojang has officially sent out surveys, or you can participate in a survey questioning you on what your thoughts are about the inventory. But it is more specifically geared toward Bedrock users. So the rumor is that it might be an across-the-board thing. I'm hoping for a survey for us Java users.
Yeah. Well, considering, a lot of us Java users, we have at some stage or another used mods to improve the inventory and quality of life things. And there are a lot of options there. So, I think it's definitely something, when you compare vanilla to, say, the better Minecraft experience for that mod pack, there's a lot of improvement to be made with the inventory system in vanilla Minecraft. So fingers crossed that they do pull something out and they listen to the community. But, the minute the Hermits and that en masse started talking about in their videos, almost every video of theirs started coming out with some sort of mention about inventory this and inventory that. It was like, well, we know where the next update is headed, to inventory. So I think it's a very, very safe bet. You can put the house on that one, Miner.
Exactly. I mean, and Hermitcraft has lately has been pretty influential, talking to Mojang devs and having them on the server, getting their thoughts. So, I'm hoping that the devs are listening to the community, because there has been a lot of animosity, or I don't know what the proper word is.
Strained relationship, probably the
strained relationship between the developers and the community as far as communication goes. So I think that's one thing that they need to do a lot more outreach, talk to the community, listen to the community, and I think people will be a lot happier.
Yeah, and time heals all wounds, so to speak, and we just get on with it and enjoy the game of blocks that we have known to come and love.
Exactly. So, what inspires us as content creators, as builders, as redstoners, as just creative people in this game of Minecraft. We'll just start with season 1. We came together as a group, and all different styles, all different types of Minecrafters.
Indeed, yeah, there was
More into building and more into redstone. So
we had
we all have our own inspirations.
We had a very wide variety of play styles with the playing group. The original playing group was very, very different. You had the casual players, you had the hardcore builders, you had the redstoners, you had the people that really didn't know what they were doing, just sort of just going along with the flow. Then you had those that just went hell for leather and, you know, had bases and buildings up within a week. So it was like, yeah, very interesting to watch that unfold for our very first season.
Right. I mean, as far as the rest of the group, watching their builds, Blind Cubsy, Joush, yourself, and then others, that we definitely had some awesome builds on season 1. As far as myself, since starting to play this game, I've always been fascinated by redstone. Not much of a builder, but when excuse me, when I brought Rhea along for the ride, she wanted to do something with the theme. As far as the base, she basically told me, you take care of whatever's underneath in the industrial type area, and she will do what the surface level of the base is. So she went with a Mediterranean look, everything in quartz, kind of a resort type area, spas, and we did have a lighthouse, but we've kind of had a lighthouse in every world that we've been a part of. So nothing yet in season 3, but that was part of the base. I really wanted to start getting into something more themed, or I wanted to stretch my building skills, which I'm not really a builder. But I was heavily inspired by Corrales, his I want to say season 7 construction type builds. So I started putting in cranes and excavators and
the wetlands.
Yeah, I started destroying the wetlands basically. But that branched off into a storyline, which I just absolutely loved. I mean, this was just something that for me was just going to be kind of like an event thing. I was going to dig a tunnel. Said, why not turn it into a construction site? And then it just blossomed from there. But yeah, Corrales was a big inspiration for me. His season 7 Hermitcraft specifically.
I could definitely, now that you've mentioned that, and I've, since then I've watched more of Corrales, and I can definitely see the similarities that you were sort of trying to pull from. But that whole area was it was really good. It was so well put together. In fact, it features on the fly through. If you go to the Interrealms website, interrealmssmp.com, and you just watch the at the top there, we have a few fly-throughs from previous seasons. You have to sit there long enough and watch it. You'll actually see that construction area come up. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. And was that Keeger's Concrete?
Yes. That was when I first met Keeger's, and he really started supporting us as, a fan. And I'm like, hey, I'm if someone's going to support me that much, I'll make a concrete company right there on that site with his name on it.
And you did. And I know he still talks about that to this day. It meant a lot to him, that. So, yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah.
We had a lot of inspiration, though, from, nowadays we don't like to compare ourselves to Hermitcraft. Like, we are Interrealms and we do things differently. We do things our way now. We've pulled away from that traditional Hermitcraft-like thing. But if you look back at season 1, you can see a lot of inspiration of Hermitcraft rolling through into that season.
Definitely.
From the shopping district to some of the styles and builds that we were doing, some of the storylines. I won't lie, Sheepman very much took inspiration from Poultryman. From, I think it was season 6, I think. And again, that was just something that came out randomly because, I had an iron farm. I had a whole heap of poppies, and I was like, well, I have to do something with them. What can I do
Where are
with
you
all
gonna
these
plant
poppies?
them?
Where did I plant the poppies, Miner?
Right on the island before anything. I think it was right there when Ree came along and joined the server. She's like, "What is going on here?"
If the island was just blooming into something beautiful and majestic.
So I said, "What do you want? Red dye or you want bone meal?" And she said, we'll use it for bone meal." So really, it was a gift from Sheepman.
That's all Sheepman was just someone that just wanted to give gifts to everybody. He only had love and gift and kindness in his heart. But that actually goes on to sort of a slight topic shift in a ways. When we sat down to talk about inspirations here for this recording, I was on the line of, right, what to think about, what inspired with the different builds. But really, it goes deeper than that, doesn't it? Like when you're Minecrafting, and particularly when you're on a server like Interrealms, storylines come up and different themes come up. So inspiration actually goes deeper than a building contraption a building or a redstone contraption. Sometimes you need inspiration for your storylines too.
Well, I mean, even though we say we pulled inspiration from Hermitcraft a lot, even they were inspired by other builders. I was inspired by Corrales and a lot of the vehicles he was using, and I used a lot of the designs from a builder that he follows. I forget his name now.
You remember at the time you were posting that on Twitter, and you actually got some comments and likes and that from both Corrales and that builder who I also cannot remember at the time. But you're right, a lot of these big ones too will take inspiration from their own patron servers and things like that as well. So inspiration is absolutely everywhere. And I guess, content creation for Minecraft and Minecraft in general has been around for so long now that it'd actually be probably pretty hard that you can do something and go, hey, this is 100% original, never been done before. You're sort of into that territory of, is there anything original that isn't inspired anymore from anyone?
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that this current season of Hermitcraft, there's a lot of the bigger content creators like Impulse. He's using designs built by his patrons, or Doc M has build teams. Other content creators I've seen, they have fans and or patrons build teams build stuff for them, and they feature it on their channel.
Yeah, and I guess is that inspiration or is that utilizing resources you have to be able to produce content? Unfortunately, for smaller creators like you and I, we don't have the benefit of that. We have to gain our inspiration elsewhere and design ourselves and build ourselves for the most part. Yeah, in terms of inspiration, you can we have to look elsewhere. We don't have necessarily the hugest communities to pull from, so we have to look elsewhere usually for our inspiration.
Going back to season 1, your build, your base, Dragon's Rest. I mean, for a season 1 base, was amazing. I mean,
I've got to admit, it. Whenever I put photos of it somewhere on a new community, it always gets attention. And for me, that's the iconic memory of season 1 is how that base ended up. I don't even know if you're talking about Dragon's Rest where the inspiration for it necessarily came from. I did know I was very excited for the 1.16 Nether update, and I was determined that I was going to do a Nether inspired build. I was going to bring the Nether through to the overworld. That was the plan. As soon as I knew 1.16 was coming, that was what it was going to be. But the build wise, if you look at the builds, and I look back now, there's probably some of the dragon. Well, the main dragon, I think it was Big Baron, or something like that, was the main inspiration, but it was not a block for block use because I couldn't follow his tutorial well enough, so I just sort of went, well, that's the general shape, let's see what we can do. But some of the other dragons that are in there, I think was Gemini Tay was part of it that I'd modified. And then, you look at the outlines of some of the buildings that took very much inspiration from Lord of the Rings, Isengard and things like that, just to sort of get, the different shapes and the outcroppings and things like that. But a lot of it was just basically, well, what does the nether look like? Oh, it looks like that. All right, well, let's bring that, let's replicate that in the overworld and improve upon it, like the custom lava runs and things like that, which actually was an inspiration of the way they were done by Pixel Riffs. He done something very similar for a volcano. And I was like, I didn't use exactly what I did. I changed it to my way as well. But it all came together. I was both disappointed and relieved when it was finished, because it actually wasn't finished. I had a much bigger plan for that, but I think I left the run way too late to try and actually complete it. So what we got is what we got.
Yeah, doesn't that happen every season though? I mean, you have all these grand plans and you want to build all these things, and then you get short of time. An update comes out for whatever reason. Everything doesn't get done that you wanted to get done, so you kind of have to compromise.
Yeah, that's true.
And call it done.
Yeah, and I
think be happy with it.
Well, that's exactly right. And there's been calls even from my son saying, well, why don't you go and finish it in creative? Well, to me, that's not an option, because is what it is now. Like, that's where it got to in the season. So that's what Dragon's Rest is. And it's a survival build. If I go and, to lack of a better term, finish it in creative, it's no longer a survival build. So to me now, it is done. It's a finished project and I'll move on from it. But, this is, when we're looking at a build like that, this is the time before I knew how to use Lightmatica. So, 80% of that building was designed in creative, and then I had to go and replicate that without Lightmatica on the server. And, and you'd place a few blocks and hope you were doing it right. Then you would fly out, make sure you were, and then fly back in to make sure you had it right again, or adjust it if you needed to. So it was a very slow process. And I can distinctly remember knowing I had this is before I started on the Dragon's Rest part of it itself. I'd had the starter castle done. I'd had the big dragon done. I'd had the ziggurat done, had my farms done. And it was like, well, now I need to move on to this part, the fortress and the nether part. And I remember thinking, what have I got myself into here? Like, this is a massive project. And because I didn't know Lightmatica in those days, and I didn't have that tool to be able to assist me, I actually felt very overwhelmed, and it actually put me off starting it for a good few months. Which in the end, I probably needed those extra months because I needed more time to finish what I hadn't planned. But once, obviously, we learned about Lightmatica and then how to use it and got into that, it made the job of doing something to that scale so much easier.
I think toward the end of that season, the season 1, is when we first started getting into Lightmatica and trying to learn how to use it. You made the tutorial, which I think was really good. Some of the other tutorials I've seen are pretty lengthy. You just, I think you concentrated on the basics. And Lightmatica is a tool that's for builders, I think is really, really good. And it makes things look more professional, especially when you're doing a time lapse. Which I say that, but I still haven't quite figured it out.
You do all right, Miner. You do all right. I think with Lightmatica, yes, for the most part, for those of us that are not full-time content creators, it helps speed up that process of getting our builds done for video. Yeah, I have no doubt, had we not learnt how to use Lightmatica in season 1, there's no way Dragon's Rest would have been anything like what it was. Not a chance. And I know some people sit there and say, oh, it's cheaty this and it's cheaty that. Well, you know what? You're still designing the build. You still got to go and harvest all the resources and collect everything. And you've still got to physically place every block by hand. If I can sit there and finish a build like that and go, you know what? I've placed every block by hand. I've designed it myself. It's my build. It's my design. I'm happy with that. And, if I have to use a tool that helps me do it a bit quicker for the sake of the content, because, this is not my full-time job, I'm happy to use it.
If I hadn't learned how to use it, that the construction area wouldn't have became a reality, because I used it heavily on that. But nowadays, I really, really rely on it for the redstone Yeah, there are certain things that don't transfer over from a schematic in Redstone, but it really helps, especially on bigger Redstone builds. The Google machine, the Shulker sorter, that really helps speed that up so much.
Actually, that's a really good idea, good thought that, because I look at those the casino from season one, the Redstone builds for there. Man, I should have been using Lightmatica to build them, put them together. You know,
Mhm.
getting the world downloads, because they were all those builds were certainly they were not my designs, they were not my creations. I'm not good enough at Redstone for that. You know, I had to learn how they worked, but they were definitely someone else's, which at the top of my head I cannot remember who that was either. I could look it up. Lightmatica definitely would have helped putting those together, and a lot quicker time frame than what it took me to do. You know, that's part of being inspired, I guess, in terms of content creation, is learning the way the tools of the pros basically, and how they manage to do it, and trying to use the same tools that they use.
I don't want to skip ahead too much, but Lightmatica is the first. I did a Redstone contraption in Creative and made a schematic of it that I could put into a single player world for the first time. It was totally it was totally my design, but it was inspired by concepts from other creators, other Redstoners such as El Mango and Rabid. I always get his name wrong.
Rabid
Rabid
Rabbit.
Rabbit,
Yes, Rabid Rabbit.
and who was the other one? El Mango, Rabid Rabbit. Drawing a blank.
Must have been a quality contribution, that one. Insert name
I
here.
am a drawing a blank. Insert name here.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, that's you can do something in Creative and play around with the blocks. You have everything at your disposal to build something and not have to worry about going back and forth between shulker boxes and chests, and then take a schematic of it and then put it into a single player world. Really, really saves so much time.
And I think it's important to note here too that, we're talking about inspiration and who inspires us and how we're inspired and the ideas we get from, and we're using Lightmatica and schematics and these sort of things. But, this, I think, harkens back to right back to our very first podcast that I think for Minecraft Lab that you and I did, Miner. You give credit to those that inspire you in some way in these builds or creations. You don't sit there and build from someone else's work and say, look what I've done, look how good I am. You just don't do that. You make sure, obviously, you give credit. And that's why if you have a look at, for the most part, on all of the Interrealms videos that all of us do from this server, we are always forever, or any photos or pictures we put up on our social medias, it's like, this was inspired by this person, and we tag them, or we put a link to their videos in our description and things like that. Because, at the end of the day, it's okay to take inspiration. It's okay to give tribute to something or someone, but give them the due credit that they deserve.
Right, and that's a good segue into season 2. For me in season 2, or for Ree and I, we came in and we started. I had a couple in real life things going on, so we didn't get to do as much as we wanted to. Plus, it was, I think we decided it was going to be a short season because of the way the updates were split. But this time around, we wanted to stretch our creativity. We didn't want to copy any other builds that we saw in, on Planet Minecraft or anything like that. Use anybody else's schematic or anybody else's build. But like in season 1, where she did a Mediterranean town, we wanted to do kind of a Spanish villa, Spanish mission.
Mm-hmm.
And that build, the mission build, was 100% in Creative. And I was so proud of what Reimagine and I did with that, because that is 100% our build. And we did it in Creative and took a schematic of it and then put it onto Interrealms. And we did that. We didn't do a whole lot that season, but we quite proud of that. And we did a small Spanish lighthouse, a little Spanish villa, and
And
we had other builds.
I was going to say, because you and I were and Ree were neighbours for season 2, right next to each other. I had the privilege of being able to see that get constructed, and I can remember logging out and nothing had happened, and I came back like 2 days later, and there was just this gorgeous build that had just appeared. And I remember standing on the docks of my little Wild West town, looking over there, going, "Wow, that's just wow." And then I flew over and had a look, and yeah, you guys excelled on that one. I'll give you the tip. That was very well put together.
And Ree's, she's really into a complete build, having not only a nice looking exterior, but she's really getting into doing the terraforming and interior design. So the interior of that mission, I absolutely loved myself, because she used a lot of terracotta. She did pews and a pulpit. It looked like a church. It looked like a mission. So,
and I think
thought that was awesome.
And I think that's, for me, as we now move into the different seasons, is something that I'm being conscious of as well now when I'm designing a build or an area, is it not just having like be this static thing, there's a couple of buildings around, but the area, the inside has a life to it. Like you can go there and you feel like something's happening. And the inspiration I take from that, and I've said this a few times, is both B-Dubs and Good Times with Scar. Because if you have a look at their builds, and a great example of this is the big dig that Scar did in, I want to say, season 7 of Hermitcraft, is you walk around there, his build there, and it didn't always show in his videos, but he's got like, that build is like a snapshot in time where things are in motion. Like there's conveyor belts that are throwing things, and you can physically see things that are being thrown off in midair. The whole thing feels alive. And, and B-Dubs has got that same thing with his village from that exact same season. There's boats in the water, there's fishing nets hanging up that are swaying, their interiors are done. So very much what you're saying, like what Ree's inspiration was, in direction, I should say, go and make things a complete build. I'm very much trying to catch up with that theme, because that's sort of like the next evolution, I guess, for being a builder, is not just plopping something down and going, hey, look, I've got this building, but making that building in all facets feel alive.
And you bring up Scar and B-Dubs. In my opinion, Scar, yes, he puts life into his builds. Motion makes it feel alive, like it's inhabited. It's not just a building. And then B-Dubs, in my opinion, he's a painter. He can put blocks in ways that you'd never imagine. Some of the stuff he's doing in season 9, he's using blocks to create shadows and texture. There's not really, I mean, it's a flat surface. If you took all the color away, it's just a flat surface. But because of the way he's put the blocks together, it's created depth and some sort of texture.
I'm a member of his on his YouTube channel, so I'm privileged enough to be able to go and watch some of his members only streams. And some of the stuff he does is you just sit there and just being able to watch it. Unfortunately, he usually streams when I'm usually asleep. So when I do get an opportunity to catch at least a little bit of it, it's just, like you said, his techniques, the way he's putting things together, you wouldn't even think of, like, he's using, I don't know whether this might be a spoiler for one of his future episodes, but the way he's using target blocks and something coming up to give a different shade to a particular build as part of a gradient is like, up close it looks like ugh, but you go back and it just looks just like a painting. It's just next level. It is next level.
Let me ask you this real quick. You can include this or not. B-Dubs, I think I watched one of his live streams. Does he use World Edit quite a bit when he puts? Okay, see, that's something that I want to learn how to use, especially if I've got a generic build and I want to replace blocks. Everything that's cobblestone I want to replace with andesite or whatever. Yep. I think you can do that in World Edit.
Yes, you can. Yes. And it's not just him, by the way. I've watched some of the others I've seen Impulse do it. Green doesn't really live stream, so I haven't really seen it. But I've seen a few of them that have done it. So when they say there's a footpath or a walkway, and then they've got mix of like andesite blocks and bricks and all different sort of things. What you can do with World Edit is you select the area and then you say, I want this area to be 25% gravel, 25% stone, 32% this, blah, 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 blah. And then what World Edit does is goes, okay, no worries, and it does it for you. And it just randomizes it, and it says, 20% of these blocks need to be this, and it just randomizes it. And for the most part, it usually looks pretty good. Or you can select an area and you can, change the whole blocks from one thing to another. You can create shapes. Yeah, I know there's like some builds out there that have been done where usually they are, for lack of a better term, painted with World Edit or a very similar mod, and then that is then replicated in survival by going placing it block by block. So World Edit is also another very valuable tool of the pros, so to speak, but it's one I have not mastered yet, to be honest. I haven't. I can't remember the commands well enough to use it, but some of the interomers on it that use it are very talented at it.
I think Dracolis has used it quite a bit.
Yeah, I think Jurassic's is probably the best user of it at the moment.
Oh, really?
He
don't know that. He needs to do a tutorial.
He does need to do tutorials on it. I don't think well, I know he doesn't do it for builds, but for terraforming and landscaping stuff like that, I definitely know he knows how to use it, put it that way.
I see that's one thing that I want to branch out in. I don't want to spoil too much. I have a build for season 3. I'm just going to say it's a tower. Yeah. And it's inspired by someone else. It's someone else's build, which I'll give credit at that time. I kind of want to tweak it and make it my own. And I think the only way I can do that is in World Edit.
Well, there's no time like the present to learn a new skill, my friend. So, when you've figured it out, let me know. Then you can teach me.
Back to season 2. Not a whole lot, but I did stretch. Marie and I did stretch our creativity in that, and then we wanted to bring that into season 3. Your inspiration for season 2, though, did you pull from? You said you pretty much that was all from scratch.
That was.
But is there a reason or something that inspired you to do a Wild West town?
Look, my favorite movie of all time is a really old movie called High Noon. It's an old black and white movie, and it's a cowboy movie. And I like it because the theme of it is, it doesn't matter how tough things get, you don't give up and you fight till the last breath. And that's something I like to live my life by. You just don't shrug and give up when things get a little bit too hard. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I'd always liked that genre. And I had just come off literally finishing Dragon's Rest. So I think we finished Dragon's Rest, and the very next week we were starting season 2. I hadn't really decided what theme I wanted to do. I did know I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do the whole fantasy thing because I'm very conscious of trying to do different things all the time to try and stretch myself creatively. I didn't want to do a big one build thing because, for example, if I had got halfway through Dragon's Rest and I hadn't had the walls finished or I'd missed some of the towers, it would forever look there going, this is unfinished. It's not done. So I wanted to do a build where I could do small bits in smaller chunks. And if I did, for whatever reason, run out of time, it could still look finished, if that makes sense.
Right.
So when I was sort of thinking about it, it was like, well, a Wild West town is it's all a whole bunch of smaller individual buildings, all in like a main street. So I thought, well, that will probably suit because, if I only get 6 buildings done, at the end of the day, I've got a main street done, I'll be done. And just sort of fell into it that way. So there was no actual inspiration from anyone really for season 2's for Wildwood, apart from me wanting to live out my childhood dream of being a cowboy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
and that season saw more live streams of doing those builds, I think doing a smaller build versus tackling a bigger build while on live stream is probably more suited.
Yeah, well, all of basically, for the most part, Wildwood was all done on live stream. Like, there was no creative planning, there was nothing. It was just build it on live stream as we went. There was, and I've showed this on some of my more recent live streams, the Wild West area of my creative world. You'll see, like, I've built a corner of the saloon, and that's just to get the palette right and scale. And then I'd take that one little corner and then I'd go and translate that over. Or the front of the sheriff, the jail, I built the front facade of that so I could get the scale right, but also I could get the palette right. But everything else was sort of, then once I had my general idea, I took a screenshot, put the screenshot up on at that time, the monitor beside me, and then away I went. So, and because I knew we had a short season, I didn't really have time to sit down and design things. It sort of had to, I'm here on stream, so I have to do it while I'm on stream. But the beauty of it is, though, like, even though they were all individual builds, it looks impressive altogether when it's finished. Like, you would sit there now and walk up the street and along the back and go, this is actually a really big build. And it, for the most part, is. Individually, they were small, tiny little projects that together came together to look something really good.
Right, yeah.
Like, I know when very recently, on a live stream, we finished the project for the night reasonably early, so I fired up. Because, we've got a lot of new people in, and in recent times, my Twitch channel has sort of grown exponentially pretty quickly. So there's a lot of new people in the community that hasn't seen any of this history that we're talking about here. So I fired up the creative versions of these worlds, and I took people through my bases and well, other people's too, but mostly mine. And, we got to, Dragon's Rest always gets a good reaction when people see it. But the Wildwood, people saying, oh, this is amazing. Look how good this is. And this is a real Wild West town. It was like, that actually surprised me that people had just as good reaction to Wildwood as what they did to Dragon's Rest, which made me sit back and go, well, even though it was only a 6 month, well, probably a 5 month build and a whole lot of smaller projects, collectively, it looks pretty good. And what I really liked about it was, it really complemented each other, like your base and my base for that season, because they were like similar sort of era sort of thing. It really complemented that whole end of that island coming together really well.
There was a section of it that we were going to try and blend the two together, but for whatever reason, I don't know. It's just one of those things you don't get around to it, or kind of falls by the wayside, or you just run out of time. Next season's coming up, so
yeah, we definitely tried to, but it was just. Yeah, I think I tried it and I couldn't get it right, so I lost interest in it, and then we just ran out of time after that. But, that season was it was a season we didn't really see coming, because we had these big, massive plans for clans. They come out and say, you know what, we're going to split this update. And it's like, oh, well, that sort of screws us a bit. So we had to readjust and reassess. But, season 2 is really it's a weird one when you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever load up the world, there's a lot of things that may look unfinished but there were really some impressive things still on that world. But that kind of segues into season 3, the reason why we had such a short season and what we had planned before. So that's kind of a segue into talking about season 3. We had plans to do clans way before season 2, but because of the split of the update 117 118, we had to do something different. But now we're in clans. We're in season 3 on a whole new world.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this world is we have no end date in mind at any point. This is just going to go, this world, for as long as we feel it needs to. So we can all do whatever we want to do, different projects. Yeah, it's a really nice feeling, completely different than the previous two, in terms of the scope of what we can achieve with this. We're not even calling it a season anymore, are we? We're calling it a world 3.
Right. And can we mention the transition we have made?
We can indeed.
So Interrealms has transitioned into becoming a community server versus just a content creator SMP. Maybe you could explain that a little bit better than I.
Sure. So originally when we started out on this journey of Interrealms, it was very much decided that we were going to be the next Hermitcraft, and it was going to be just for content creators. And if you wanted to come on here, you had to be able to making content and had to be content every so often. And it was putting a lot of stress on people. And, it was also for no one is ever going to be Hermitcraft. So we had a good look at things and we decided, we've got a lot of great people, a lot of talented people around in our community, because our community, ever since particularly the first live stream weekend, has been growing daily with people coming in through to the Discord and from our streams, on our videos and all sorts of things. So we decided, we were looking at ways to, for lack of a better term, break the fourth wall and bring the viewers and the community more involved with our storylines and what we were doing. And what better way than actually bring them onto the server? So we discussed ways of doing it, and basically almost overnight, the amount of people on the server has doubled, which blows my mind. And what it means is if you're listening to this and you're a fan of what we do, or you just want to have a great community to hang around with, drop into the Discord, get to know us, and you have an opportunity and a pathway here to actually play with us on the server now as a server member. And so far I think we've brought 10 new people onto the server, and some of these people have already reached out saying, we'd like to give content creation a go. Can you give us a hand? It's like, no problems. We'll help you do that. Or, you got people that just want to come on and just build. And it's just a nice little vibe around at the moment.
I mean, it still has the rules that any server would have as far as guidelines and things like that. So you have to abide by those. But you don't have to come on just to make content creation. And another reason why we did this is because we're not full-time content creators. There's 10 or more of us originals, actual content creators, but we still have full-time jobs, and we can't always be on there, but we can't always be active, but we want to have a more active server. So with these community members, 10 so far?
10 so far, yep.
The server is going to be a lot more active. Again, you're not required to make content, but your builds will be featured. Their builds will be featured. A lot of them have joined different clans, and they're putting in the work and helping their clan out, and it's really something different, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's certainly got a nice vibe around the place at the moment, and there's a few of us, that are hitting our goals in terms of the content creation now. So like for example, myself, I recently hit 300 followers on, on Twitch. That's the one, and 100, and now well over 100 subscribers on there as well, which is blowing my mind. Dracolis has had a video now that's just absolutely flowing, absolutely gone nuts. And there's a lot of us that are hitting our goals as well, personal goals, and it's really nice to see. And now we get to share that experience with the bigger, greater community, Interrealms community as well. So very interesting time, and it's going to be interesting to see speaking of inspiration, how these new people come in and what inspiration they take from either other content creators that they've watched, or, they've been watching us for the last 6 months on this world, what inspirations they draw from us to what they take into their own builds and their own storylines and their own journeys on this server. I can't wait to see that, to be honest.
That's one thing that can inspire all of us is people's enthusiasm, their energy, having more people that are excited about building, just for the sake of building or being a part of something. Keegers, I don't know how he does it, how he does everything he does for the server, but it is inspirational because he does on behind the scenes type of stuff with the website, and I feel bad. He does so much. I should return the favor and do the things that I need to do. But it is inspirational to have people like that with that type of energy and enthusiasm, and just that want to be a part of something.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's really blowing me away is, we've opened this obviously via a Patreon system, and, I knew we'd probably get maybe 3 or 4 when we opened this up. but to be smashed with 10 straight off the bat, it really says to me, as a community, we're doing the right thing. We're building a nice, safe, welcoming community that people genuinely enjoy to be a part of. You can't beat that. And that in and of itself inspires me to keep looking towards the future then to, how can we be better? How can we do more? How can we grow so that everyone grows and everyone has more fun and everyone enjoys this community, and what more can this community offer to the community? That really inspired me, to be honest, to see the reaction that we got when we announced that we were opening the server, because that wasn't just an overnight decision. That was months in the making, and to make sure we were happy with where it was, and votes in the behind the scenes to make sure we were all on the right path, and then to see the reaction that it got from our community, I was inspired. For lack of a better word, I was inspired, and that really helped lift me up. It really did. I don't know about anyone else, but it was very heartwarming to see.
Before this was even announced, or maybe it was talked about by yourself and Keegers, but I had noticed on other SMPs, especially Hermitcraft, where they were involving the community, going back to what I was talking about, them having build teams and whatnot on their own Patreon servers. I feel like the reason why I'm excited about it is because we're doing it different. I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, because it's so new. But I'm excited to see what the people that are coming on build, because that in itself is going to be inspirational. The possibilities for collaboration with these people that they don't wish to be content creators. Some of them may not wish to be content creators, but they just want to build. It's just exciting.
It is. And, I think we're going to look back in years to come. We're going to look back on this change, and we're going to go, that is the moment that it all came together for Interrealms. That was where it really kick-started. I know from my perspective, every stream, I'm getting like 2 or 3 new followers, and I'm trying to direct every single one of those back into the Interrealms Discord. You can find the link below. Because it just helps to further expand the community and the friends that we're making. And let's not make a mistake here, Miner. These people are coming in. They're not fans. They're not viewers. We see them as friends. By the time they come onto the server, these are our friends that we're playing with. So, nothing has ever changed. We've always said Interrealms was a bunch of friends playing Minecraft together. And that's still the case. We just get to play with more friends now.
Right. And it's the way it's set up. I mean, we are all supporting each other, whether it's just helping build for the sake of someone else's video or clan video or whatever. Yeah, being there. I don't know how to describe that, but
I think the best way to describe it, Miner, is it's inspiring.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't think we want to spoil too much of what we have planned in season 3, because there's many things that have not been revealed yet. My plan for season 3, I want to do more creative things like I did in season 1, that are 100% reionized builds, and I think we've already done that in the next video. You should see soon-ish. I thought about going big, epic mega builds, but I really want to have something that's, like you said, has life to it more than anything else. But one thing that I forget, who I just saw it on Twitter. There are people that are into speed runs and objectives and different things in Minecraft, but
Bearded Boss Alex is a great example of that. He loves his speedruns.
But this person said the sense of exploration is not covered as much. Without spoiling too much, that's something that I want to create for myself and for other members on Interrealms, is a sense of adventure, something that they can use for content, or just if they're not going to, it's something to go on an adventure.
And I know what that is, and I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, I am looking forward to that. Because that is something for me that is missing in Minecraft, is that sense of adventure. You're exactly right, and that person that said it is right. It's not really there. You know, you might want to go and find a woodland mansion, right? But the only reason you're really going to do that is why? To get a laze. Once you got a laze, you're done. You don't go again. You know, you might go to an ancient city. Why? To get Swift Sneak. Once you got it, you don't go again. So there's no real incentive to get out in the world. Whereas, you know, and people are probably sick of me saying this, Miner, but let's take a look at Better Minecraft, right? That mod pack.
I was just going to mention that because I had the same exact thought.
You know,
every time you play that, you're like, whoa, what's this? What's this? What's this?
Yes, it's quickly be turning into Minecraft, the What's This series. But that it's true that whole world feels alive though, and you don't know what you're going to fall into literally when you go on a journey. The sense of exploration there is next level. That's something that Minecraft vanilla, I feel, doesn't have. So maybe there's quality of life on. Maybe we need to, you know, bring in a sense of exploration into the fold of Minecraft again, because, you know, it's a big world. But usually once you've got your farm set and you've got your base area set, you don't really go that far.
Right. And you're exactly right. That's one thing Better Minecraft does a lot better. You know, they give you a sense of exploration to where these worlds are supposed to be randomly generated. Even though they are in vanilla Minecraft, they're still pretty much, I mean, you can pretty much count on end cities and strongholds and nether fortresses and the certain things that you do at those and mobs you'll find there. It lacks exploration or change or something to go to the next ancient city, you know, different loot, because you can raid a bunch of different ancient cities and find the same loot. So I don't know if something like that is possible in vanilla Minecraft, or do we just depend on the mod creators?
Well, I guess it's going to really depend on what their overall vision is for the game, where they want it to end up. I would think exploration should be a key component of it, especially if they're going to start going through and updating all the biomes. But I think that's one part of the game. You know, yes, inventory, quality of life definitely needs a touch up. But, you know, what about this exploration side? Like, I struggle to think of any structure or point of interest in the game that would get me excited enough to go, woohoo, let's go track another one down.
Right, yeah.
And there's some that it's like, why would you even go look into it? Like, you know, the jungle temples. You find one, great. Maybe that's something that needs to be looked at is, you know, the points of interest in the game that makes you want to go out to these things. Because now, you know, I guess in a sense, you know, with the allays, before you could duplicate them, if you wanted more, you had to get out there and explore more to find another, either a pillager outpost or a what are they called? Woodland mansion. But now, as soon as they've bowed to pressure from the community and went, okay, yeah, you can duplicate them, great. You only need to go find one. And you don't need to worry about these other places anymore. So there's definitely some inspiration that I think Minecraft could take from the modding community where, you know, they could go with that part of their game.
I've said it before that if maybe Mojang would go outside of their development team and say, okay, as the Mojang development team, we're going to work on these. And then if they're some of the bigger mod teams, they said, okay, you guys work on these features. I think they could come up with some stellar updates that would be actual vanilla.
I guess it comes down to right at the end of the day. And actually, I think Azuma put a video out very recently about mods, and I didn't watch it in depth, but I know I'm pretty sure he did, unless I dreamed it. You know, but they could have legal things there, and I guess it comes down to the end of the day, you know, you've got a creative team there in Mojang itself. What's their overall vision? You know, and they might not look at it the same way as the mod creators do. But I think there's some things they can definitely take inspiration from, since we're on the topic of inspiration, to make that vanilla experience, as you said, a teensy bit better and tick all the boxes. And yeah, let's hope they do that.
Yeah, I mean, because One thing that would have led to more exploration is something that they've left out, and we don't know if they're going to return to, is archaeology, which I thought would, give more opportunities for exploration.
I guess for me, archaeology always seemed like a bit of a weird one. I'd like to see, I guess, the mechanics of it and the what it added to the game, as opposed to it being just a thing that you just find. Is there a point to it? But yeah, that would definitely, if that was something that interests you, was the archaeological. I got it out eventually. The archaeological part of the game. Yeah, of course you go out and you hunt for more fossils and pots and stuff like that. But, what about for those of us that it doesn't really tickle our fancy? What else is there? What else could they do?
Just the basic stuff that they had, is more just finding the fragments of the pot, baking the pots, and then it was some sort of decoration. So, that beyond building and decorative type things, there wasn't much more than that, which I don't know if that's why they left it out, or it's just one of those things that they didn't get around to, kind of like things that were left out of 1.19.
Yeah. And, there's others, and on that note, if you actually have a look at the Caves and Cliffs Part 2, there are actually cave biomes that didn't make the cut either. There's a lot of things that they could work on that they have previously announced to work back in to further increase that exploration feel. Who knows? Maybe when we get that Minecraft Live next month, maybe some of these things will feature back into it.
I think possibly, maybe. We will shoot for at least some sort of reaction to Minecraft Live in Minecraft Lab.
I look forward to that. I think that would be a great idea. We'll have to talk to Keegas about making sure we tee that up for release just right. Even we got to change the order of release around a little bit. I think we strike while the iron's hot on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Keegas, if you're listening, and I know you are, start working on change of roster.
Well, he'll just want us to go every 2 weeks.
Well, he has alluded to that. I'm not sure how we're going with that one, but anyway, we'll see how we go. Of course, Keegas is the father, the grandfather, the mother, the sister, and the brother, and the brains of the Interrealms podcast. So obviously we are just one part of it. What do you call it? What's a podcast? We're just one
podcast.
We're just one podcast in the tapestry that is the Interrealms podcast. So he's the boss of it all. And he's telling us, he's putting the pressure on you boys, you need to do 2 a month. And it's like, oh, we'll try. Sorry, Dad. Not really. I'm joking.
So with the season 3, which we decided we haven't decided anything. We haven't decided it will end. I think we're going to even drop the term season. We have plenty of time to be inspired, to do big things, to do small things. The way we've got it now is, I think there's no limit to what we can do as a community, big or small. But I am excited for what's to come. There are some things that I get inspired by every day to try out, and you never know what's going to happen on Interrealms.
Yeah. Someone's always coming up with some sort of idea, some sort of inspiration that they've got. And now with, twice the amount of people on the server, that inspiration is only going to run deeper. Because
inspiration, when it starts to it's like, I don't want to give it a bad connotation, but it's infectious.
Mm-hmm.
It spreads, and when you get more and more people inspired by each other, you can do greater things.
Yeah, and you only have to take a look at the central area now of the Interrealms, like the spawn area through to the shopping district. How quickly has inspiration led to that area? Now look at it. It's just gone absolutely nuts. It started off by working on the fish market, and then the village started getting worked on and renovated. Now we're getting a medieval district springing up from out of nowhere. It's just, it's great to see. For those of us that are creative types, it's a really nice outlet to be able to let that inspiration flow out in the form of however we choose to in Minecraft.
Even if you're not, if you don't have a creative bone in your body, Minecraft is something that it's therapeutic. It's something you can casually do to unwind, plant crops, tend to your cows, Just do the simple things to kind of to unwind and
Slap your goats.
slap goats. Yeah, whatever tickles your fancy.
That's it.
But there's something there for everyone.
And, if you are feeling inspired right now, why don't you head over, or actually head down to the description or wherever you are, wherever you're going to find the description, however you're listening to this podcast, why don't you jump into the Interrealms Discord? We always love to have a chat, meet new people, and the community is absolutely thriving, and we would love to chat to you and hear about what inspires you in Minecraft. And you never know, you might find a few new friends along the way.
If you enjoyed this podcast on whatever platform you are listening on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please leave us a rating. Some of the other platforms you can actually leave a review. If you feel like leaving a review, let us know what you think. You there?
Yeah, where do we go from there?
The end.
That's exactly where I'm going to end this episode. Bye all.
No. Bye.
Bye.
This has been a production of the Interrealms Podcast Network. For more information, go to podcast.interrealmssmp.com. You can see the full link in the description of this episode. Thank you for listening.
Is that the end?
No. I still feel it's like it's lacking something.
Bye.
Wait. Bye. No, did I say Minecraft Lab? Thank you. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Pretty sure.
That's where we'll end it then.
All right, I'm going to have some fun editing this one.